Hi, folks. We'll start in about 5 or 6 minutes, give other people a chance to join. Until then, mute your mic so there isn't any interference. And if you guys can put up your thumbs to say that you can hear me loud and clear. Okay, excellent. So thank you very much. So at the beginning, I said to all of you that anybody here that's just here for no reason other than to sit here and do nothing about what's going on in life, please just log out and leave. And I know these things are negative and it doesn't set the right standard, but I'm not going to be shy about these things. So anybody here that have no intention of doing anything or helping the Canadians raise money or give them documents, share the knowledge that I'm going to share with you, just please simply leave, because I really do not want you here. And I want to make that very clear. For those people here that have any questions, think about it. So I'm going to ask you guys to self-supervise yourself. I'm offering something that's very rarely ever been done, if not never has been done in the known history. So if you guys can treat it with the respect that it is delivered to you, that'd be really good. So supervise yourselves to keep yourselves quiet, okay? Because nobody can look after yourselves better than you can yourselves, full stop. So I'm not busy muting people and telling people to be quiet. So please don't use this meeting as a test ground, having a conversation with your wife and dog and things like that, which is what is happening now. Because if it continues, I'm just going to switch this off and leave. Okay? So you guys make sure that you supervise each other and keep yourselves.
Still carrying pussy feeling, talking feelings.
So if people continue speaking, I'm just going to remove you from this conversation. All right, everybody should be paying full attention. And it's not my intention to be somber with people, but you're going to be taught things that has been hidden from you for well over 160 years, and I'm going to review how these things work. Okay, so out of kindness to yourselves and what's happening, mute your mics. Don't use this as a conversation ground. All right, and listen and learn. Okay, you guys are okay with that? Put your thumbs up, please. All right, thank you very much. So for the third and last time, those people that are here only to serve themselves, just simply leave, because I don't want anything to do with you. Okay, full stop. For those people that want to do things for the world that we live in, take it forward, what the Canadians have taught us, as it were, around the world, then I'm happy to take your questions and teach you the things that you need to know. Full stop. So, first thing you need to know, I only teach first-hand knowledge, and I only do first-hand knowledge, which means if I haven't done it, I don't teach it. For those people that don't know who I am, I'm the Chief-Federal-Postal-Court-Judge, as well as a plenipotentiary judge. What that means is that those things that come through the letterbox, I control it. And as a plenipotentiary judge, my job is to educate the people in those things that they need to know to do the things that they need to do. Okay, which means I will show discretion as to what I reveal, just in case people think that they can, take out information from me that they are not ready for. Most people on this planet are not ready for anything, but the Canadians have said enough is enough. That's usually a signal that people are going to do something about it. Okay, full stop. Now, I also want to make it very clear, you guys, we are happy to do with this recording anything that you want with it. You can use it, you can upload it on YouTube, etc. I'm perfectly okay with that. All right. The intention is to share it with the Canadians because my message only gets through to perhaps a few thousand people in Canada. Other than that, it's all filtered out by what is known as shadow banning. Okay, then, full stop. So, first thing is first. For those people that have watched my presentations in the last 10 days, they're full of information on how the county coroner works and the mechanisms or bureaucracies that they use to put you and keep you in the land of the unknown, albeit in the land of the dead. And that is done through the media, language, religion, and thousands of other things, including food supply, vaccines, and so on and so forth. With the New Zealand people who I'm also training, their mandates are a little bit more severe insofar as that the governments are basically saying, we're going to smash your door down and force inject you, whether you like it or not. Okay? So when it comes to that sort of stuff, you know that every single country on this planet that is doing what they're doing is essentially saying that we are Nazis, we never went away, and we're not going to go away until you stop us. That's what they're saying to you. Have no mistake about that, okay? The other element you need to know is that as we speak, the US, how can I put it? The US dollar, which you probably know is not the US dollar, it's just a dollar, that note will soon start to lose incredible amount of value. And this is part of the monetary system that they had set in place to capture every single one of you as a slave. So let me quickly explain. I give, say, Phil here, £100 for a day's work. Okay, I'm the banker. I get to print another $100. And I print that $100 without any proof of work. I just simply create it out of digits. And then I pay Michael here with it, another $100. When I have done that, I have essentially devalued Phil's 1 day of work with me by 50%. So I essentially only paid him $50. And the reason why that is because I've printed off another $100, devaluing his currency by half. So what he was hoping to pay his rent with for $50 is now all going to be paid as $50 because his rent has gone up with inflation. Everybody understands this monetary mechanism that you are in. Okay, so the US dollar has already lost a considerable amount of its purchasing value. This is not to say your value has not gone down, but the medium of exchange has devalued the sweat equity of what you are, full stop. In addition to this, Prince Charles, who's part of the principalities, principality is a legal fiction. There are a vulgar race of subspecies that parasite on your planet. They'll be coming to Ireland to remove thousands of houses, businesses, bank accounts, and so on and so forth. That's going to happen at the end of the month, unless you do the things that you need to, which I will teach you. Okay, full stop. On June, I think it's 6th June or mid-June, the Queen, Elizabeth II, which is also part of the principality, a legal fiction, will be celebrating its Platinum Jubilee. The word Jubilee is a Jewish word, which means forgiveness of debt. She owes the people who are the creditors everything because it has nothing of its own. The crown, it has nothing of its own. And if she successfully gets people to believe the people are the debtors and she's the creditor, you've got serious problems. Okay, the last time that happened was like on her 50th Jubilee. And of course, famously in the 1970s, with the Sex Pistols forgiving her debts by everybody singing, God Save the Queen and the fascist regime. That's called a verbal contract. And that's how the mechanisms that they use, they reverse everything. So she becomes the sinner. She's the sinner in religious terms, but she gets you to forgive her sins. Who has she sinned against? The people. By getting you to believe and saying that you forgive her sins, you've made contract with her. Everybody understands this, okay? That's another element of it. So I've put these things together to be able to put a wedge in from the Crown being able to reassert its fraud upon the population, albeit in the Commonwealth. Okay, even though the Commonwealth doesn't technically exist anymore because of David Wayne Miller, they work and move in presumption and assumption. All legal fictions work under presumption and assumption. You know this as being, you are guilty until you prove yourself innocent. For factual men and women, you are innocent until the accuser proves you to be guilty. The burden of proof is on the claimant. In the world of fiction, it's the other way around. It's called the Spanish Inquisition. These mechanisms are what your governments and courts are running and have been doing for over 160 years to my records, to my account, full stop. The period that you are in at the moment is called the corona period. Corona is another word to say that you have been birthed, as in when a baby is being born, you can see its corona, that's its head. And you can see the life force, your subconscious mind can see it. That corona is your life force that they're after. The word coroner also means corona. Corona also means coronation. Coronation in English, coroner, corona, all mean the one same thing. Crown means corona, and they're after your corona. But because most human beings are just simply operating on a conscious level, unable to see and hear more than what their conscious mind is able to do, they are extremely disabled. And the mechanism of the disability is very easy. Is that if you believe a lie, and that's the lie that you live out. If you believe that there is a God, and these are the things that you need to do to keep your God from pleasing itself so it doesn't punish you, that's the lie, and that's the life that you live. So if you believe that the dollar is the almighty dollar, as it were, and that it has a limited supply, and that it purchases bread and lands and so on and so forth, you've just lived a lie. And that is what human beings have been doing for nearly 160 years to my account. And that's how the illusion works. So I'll explain a little bit more, okay? There's a man there that's being accused of being Jesus, all right? So if I get everybody to believe by testimony after testimony that he is Jesus reincarnated, you people have just followed a lie. You understand that? And everything else you do thereafter is perpetrated on that lie. One lie begets another lie. Until someone like me comes along and says, hey, what does Jesus mean? Yeah, and you might think about it and say, well, let's explore that. What does that Jesus mean? Oh, it's the same word as Jehovah. Oh, what does Jehovah mean? Oh, it's the same word as a prefix and a root word, Jah, which essentially means mischief maker. I mischief maker, okay? And the point that I'm making is that if you think you cannot be disillusioned, if you think that you cannot be lied to, look at the history of your world, okay? Look how many Muslims, Catholics, Hindus there are on this planet. People do not know what they are talking about. They do not know what anything or how anything on this planet works. They know nothing about nothing. And the level of how high and profound that is just all breathtaking. We call it the world of fiction. In the monetary system, they call it fictional money. It's a legal fiction, full stop. The vaccine mandate essentially is a vaccine so they can vaccinate you, okay, the patents of which belongs to Microsoft and a few other companies. Please do not think Microsoft is Bill Gates. I have no idea who Bill Gates is, but I do know the workings of Microsoft, okay? Because Bill Gates is an actor, that's all, full stop. So if I successfully get the population to vaccinate themselves against the corona, which is listed in the medical dictionary as a common cold, I have successfully converted everybody to believe that their corona is a virus and therefore you need to be vaccinated out of it. You guys understand this? Okay. The Church of England is run by a legal fiction called Elizabeth II, who's also the head of the Commonwealth. The Church of England is another word for the Treasury. Every Church of England has one in every county, and they have no crosses on top of it because that's always been the Treasury. She means to go into that Treasury and remove your wealth and transfer it into the City of London under the mayoral ceremony, where the City of London mayor will invite her as the mayor to come into the City of London, where she will transfer as a transmitting utility, look up these words, as a transmitting utility with the entire energy of the Commonwealth, because they have proven that you got yourself vaccinated out of the corona, and therefore she is now the trustee of that, and she's going to hand that trustee position to the people in central London, albeit the inner Temple Bar, full stop. As a plenipotentiary judge, I'm going to teach you guys how to stop this mechanism from taking place. Okay? I'm going to pull up a document. Okay. So thumbs up if you guys can see it. Originally, I designed this for the Americans. Everything on here is my details, as it were, because I hide nothing and I always teach first-hand knowledge. Full stop. So everybody can see this. Now, is everybody aware that the coroner is the one that is actually administering your affairs by saying whether you are dead or alive, what is known as brain dead? Are you guys aware of this? If not, just, shake your head or say something like this. Okay, so that is that. The highest court on this planet in every country in the world is the County Coroner's Court. The County Coroner's Court. The County Coroner's Court administers the county courts as well as the sheriff's office and as well as the police stations and so on and so forth. The Supreme Court and all other courts are what's known as punis. Puny is a French word, P-U-N-Y. It means below man, and they are servants to serve man. But because of the mirroring and because they effectively got people to believe that they are greater than you, stronger than you, and you have to do what you need, you have to do what they tell you, they successfully got people to believe they are not punies and that you are the puny. All right, and there is a lot of tests that they have to go through to prove that you are actually brain dead. I know it is very difficult for me to look at you guys that are living souls here, moving your eyelids and yawning even. Some of you guys are yawning, It's hard to believe that you are dead. But they have so much phenomenal evidence that you are actually zombies, what they call the living dead, that they got no choice but to tick you off as brain dead. One of the tests is that, do you respond to logic? Do you understand what an oxymoron is? Do you respond to stimuli? Okay. Do you have a debt pledge in place? Did you really think the Federal Reserve Bank, which is private, is controlled by laws? Did you really think 20 years ago that the Muslims were the enemies and they're the ones that perpetrated 9/11? Did you believe that? If you did, they all have proof that you are zombies because you believed a lie. When you believe a lie and act on that lie, that is all proof that you are walking dead. Did you really believe from the 1960s all the way up to the 1990s that the Irish were terrorists? Well, the answer is they did. Yeah, virtually every country in the world, including the Irish, believe that they are a terrorist nation, and the IRA was fighting for them. The IRA was nothing more than a Crown agent sent in to make sure that the Irish do not come together and fight what is known as the British. British are not English, and they are not United Kingdom. These are three different jurisdictions. So when they have proven, the county coroner, that people don't even understand what a coroner is, and that you can get vaccinated from it, and that you have mortgages, and that you take an oath to something that doesn't really exist, like, for example, the Corporation of Ireland or the Corporation of the United States, but they always leave out America because that's a different jurisdiction. So there are actually hundreds of the tests that they perform to prove that you are actually dead on paper. You see, one of the responses of men and women, not human, is that, are you responsive to logic and rationality? And because of this, you are dead on paper as well, which means you are deliberately stopped from making contract with each other or anybody else, or making any claims on an essential service provider like your government. Your government exists subservient to you, but through years of manipulation or decades, they have successfully got you to believe you are their servants. And the end result of that is the point that you guys are in, full stop. I am happy to take a few questions at this stage. Please do not rush in, or please do not compete with each other. If you do not compete, you will find this questioning and answering will go very smoothly. It's called the collective consciousness, okay? So anybody that has a question to ask, just simply unmute your mic and ask that question. Think about your question though, okay? Think about your question. Do not question me about things I have not spoken about yet, because I will teach you those things later on, okay?
Yes, hi, I have a question about Switzerland, because in Switzerland, the people are supposed to be sovereign. But with everything that is happening, it doesn't really look like that. So how does this work here?
At the moment, you have not asked me a question, darling. I know that, you know, I need to be direct with you, because most people ask questions, make statements without they don't even ask a question. They don't even know what a question is. So try to formulate what you've just said as a question and not a statement.
Okay, are the people of Switzerland really sovereign?
No, they are not.
Okay.
For several reasons. Do you know what sovereign means? Yes or no?
Yes.
What does it mean?
That you can decide about your own body and mind and...
Okay. So that is the sovereign of a legal fiction. That's
okay.
the definition of a sovereign of a legal fiction. The sovereign in lawful, the distinction of men and women is that, and you can look it up yourself because I'm doing it for you, is another word for a super anus. Yeah, just look it up. It's on Wikipedia. I've done videos on it. It means you are a super arsehole. Okay, and sorry about my strong language, ladies and gentlemen, but this is, you've now entered the world of legal fiction. Okay, so you can claim sovereignty, that's fine, but you need to know what it means, and that you need to know it's part of a language created by the principalities. Okay? That's that. Now, you know, and I know, you can make decisions in your country, but your country's constitution is the same constitution as a bank. So you are essentially a nation of bank employees. Will this system, what I'm teaching you, work in Switzerland? It will work in any country where there's the post office. And the Universal Postal Union is in Switzerland, Bern, Switzerland. Okay, that's the headquarters of the post office. Full stop. So the answer, direct answer is yes, it will work in any country in the world. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other question?
I have a question. In order to go to the coroner's office, do you need to have your live life claim, or can you go without having that?
I'll ask that question towards the end. Okay. And I'll take another question.
Can I ask a question?
I'll take another question. So, you know,
Yeah, could I ask a question, please?
I'll take any question. So ask the question, please.
Okay. The Queen is the trustee of the vaccinated people, is this right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
And we, the people here on this Zoom call, are looking to get out of debt from the Crown.
Ask me the
So,
question, please, rather than make
Is
statements.
people who are vaccinated not able to get out from the mortgages and the debt from the Crown? Or are they able to do what we're doing?
I'm not talking about mortgages. I'm not talking about debts. I'm talking about the vaccine mandate. I'm
Yeah.
talking about correcting your status with the coroner's office
Oh
for you to be able to do what you're doing. Okay. So these
Okay.
questions you might need to ask towards the end, because I have not even
Okay.
gone onto the document.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Somebody else raised their hand.
Mark?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Hi.
Yeah.
I wanted to know the difference between the coroner's office and vital statistics. Are they the same?
They are actually essentially the same. The vital statistics is the United States listing you whether you are dead or alive within
Okay.
the District of Columbia.
Okay, because I've gone
Who-
down there before I
So,
got your
darling,
information. Yes,
we're
sorry.
not going to get into that.
Okay,
I'm going to teach you the mechanism, but
Okay.
it is the mechanism. It is the county coroner you will need to speak to. All right.
okay,
I
yes.
have not finished my talk, so you guys need to listen and ask questions about what I have just said, as opposed to anything else. All right, for
Okay.
exploration reasons. You might be jumping the gun, and that will just confuse people. I'm happy to take one more question before I go on to the next.
In the Netherlands, we don't have a coroner. We have a forensic pathologist. Is that the same person you are referring to?
I do not know. I do not know, but if you send me the detail through email saying that I asked for it, I can email you back. Probably, take me 7 days or so, because I'm behind the emails. My staff is overworked, and I can give you that answer. Okay. I take it that's tonight. Yes. Okay, let's go to the document itself. Remember, you will have a recording of this. All right. And I'm going to be speaking in a steady, slow voice, and I will punctuate, if not emphasize, the words that you need to know. And I'll go through this document in relative amount of details, but not word by word, but I'll give you the gist of it. Your contract is the ability to understand how court proceedings work. And that's one of the first things the county coroner checks. In fact, the county coroner's qualification is not medical, it's lawyer. Does this man or woman understand what court is? Does they know what a court is? Do they know how to talk to a court? The proof of this is that for 1,000 years, they have been informing you of what court proceedings is. That is like a football game, a tennis court, table tennis court, anything that a game is played on, including boxing and all them, are all referring to the court proceedings. They are identical in every manner. Anybody that is outside of the court has no say because they're not in the game. Okay? That is something that you need to understand. Your television programs, your Olympic games, your boxing games, your tennis ball games, all of these things are constantly teaching you what court proceedings are. So if one of you, for your own sake, decide to look up what the qualifications of the coroner is, you'll find it's not medical. But if it's medical, i.e. they got a first aid, certificate, a first aid certificate, that really kind of helps. Okay, but that's it. It's just to check that you know what court proceedings are. In the life of men and women, not human beings, in the life of men and women, court proceedings is what enables you to go forward in life. Okay? Because I need to know what your court proceedings are for me to be able to conduct communications, commerce with you. So if I go to Putin's court and I start playing rugby with him, they're going to slap me down real fast. Okay? Because that's not the game he's going to play. The game he's going to play is probably parlay, talk, all right, to form contracts and things. Your contract, your ability to contract is your ability to control every four corner of a document, which is called all rights. Because every four corner on a piece of paper is what you need to control. At the moment, you only have partial control. That means somebody else is controlling other corners, whereas you may only control a corner of that, full stop. Okay? Now, everybody understands a court takes place under the four-corner rule. Put your thumbs up if you do. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question, okay? And all you have to do is just kind of smile to figure out the answer. If I do not give you where the boundaries of my court is by pointing out where the four corners are, will you be able to play tennis with me?
No.
Correct. So if I do not put the boundaries in, put the terms and conditions in, and that I do not have an impartial person looking into that court, I cannot control the game, and it's not a fair game. Okay? Which is what all the fiction courts do to you by making you higher or lower, and you'll find the well of the court, even in the Supreme Court, is empty. Everybody else is sitting on the spectators' stadium. The judges are nothing more than spectators. They're not even in the court, and that they call that foreign immunity. That means they are not part of the game, and they are claiming pedestrian immunity, spectator immunity, which was beautifully played out for you when a footballer left the field to punch a spectator, and the judge said to him, "You can't do that. You left your court and assaulted a spectator." His name was Eric Cantona. Yeah, but he said this guy threw a cup of coffee over you. He said, that's your problem. He's got his immunity. You have your immunity. You get on with it. Yeah, if I shout at you as a spectator, if you're stupid enough to follow my instructions as an amateur, the problem is yours as a professional. Okay, these are universal laws that exist on our planet. I think I have successfully communicated to you what a four-corner is. The name here is called a surname, and I have nom de guerre that. Nom de guerre means that I am not speaking for my family, and I have made that into a dead entity. Okay, I'm not speaking for my mum, my father, my dog, or anybody else. I'm speaking for this man here called Mark-kishon Christopher, Mark Christopher, full stop. And you'll find your passports are written this way too. So I'm only speaking about myself and nobody else. And this thing here controls everything else called as agent for the artificial person. Anything artificial man-made, it comes under a person, a personage, okay? Can you switch your mics off, please? Thank you. So whatever I create, I have infinite ability to create anything that I want. And they come under the system of known as agents. I cannot live anywhere else except where I am, which is in my body and my mind. So it's always care of, and that's my actual address. And I am not Great British United Kingdom and all this nonsense. I am an Englishman, a dark-skinned Englishman, and I'm an English nation. And I am non-commercial in this element. I will let them know whether I am commercial or not, but I am non-commercial here. I have signified that by putting the postcode completely in lowercase, which means it's domestic. If I put it in uppercase, it's commercial. It's commercial, full stop. First of all, I want you to write to the county coroner and keep a record of what you have sent. The name of the county coroner. You must not write to anybody else apart from the county coroner. The county is what controls the courts and the sheriffs in each county. That's why they call it county coroner. If you write to the chief coroner, that's just an oxymoron because it will say on Wikipedia that he is only a ceremonial coroner. A ceremonial coroner. A ceremonial coroner is the one that sings, cries, or dances in a funeral, on a funeral, okay? Depending upon which culture you're in. Some cultures celebrate death, some cultures mourn death. Some people, cry and joke and whatever it is. Some people joke in a funeral. Depends what culture you're in. Always write to the county coroner. Everything in red is what you need to fill out in. And when you do that, you write to their private capacity. Private capacity is what distinguishes public capacity. Public capacity, everything in a public capacity is known as acting. Anybody in the public is an actor, literally. Your presidents, your prime ministers, your sheriffs that are all in public office are all actors that control other actors in commerce. And they distinguish that by the way that they write your names, okay? That's why they never write to you in your birth name. They always write to you in a variety of acting names. The private capacity takes them out of being an actor, okay? There are two elements in life, private capacity, public capacity. When you put them in the public capacity and only write to them public capacity, they will only write to you as an actor, Shakespearean actor. All courts speak Shakespearean language, okay? And if you go to my website, you'll find proof of that. So if you ever write to John, JFK, that's a legal fiction actor. If you write to John Frederick, what's his name? John F.K. John Fed, I think Federici or something. But if you write to him,
Fitzgerald.
That's it. In his full birth
John
name.
Fitzgerald Kennedy.
Yeah, that's his birth name. That's the factual name. But if you write to him in JFK, then you're writing to him as an actor, and he's just going to ignore you because you're just another actor. You understand what I'm saying? That's what that is. Those are the distinctions. You have in Canada a guy called Professor Peter Jordison, I think it is. A very eloquent man. If you look on his Wikipedia, you'll be able to see and how he writes his name in whatever transmission, whether he's acting or actually speaking as a professor or speaking in his private capacity, which he very rarely ever will do. Okay? That's how you know, is how they write their name. If they write their name in any other way apart from the name that they were born with, in this fashion that I've showed you, then they are only acting. They're part of a legal fiction and they don't need to tell the truth or anything like that. Okay? Full stop. I've put here county coroner. You must find out where your county coroner is and write to them. And this is an example of the address. I've put here English nation because this would be particular to me or peculiar to me. But if you're in Canada, Canada is a corporate name. You've got to understand that's a corporate name. So what you would do is you put that all in lowercase and that will take it out of corporate. Okay? So if I was to write this all in lowercase, it would be certain I'm talking about the nation. If I put it in upper and lowercase, then it can be easily confused for being corporate or non-corporate. But I've added the suffix nation, and the nation is not a corporate. Nation are made of people, okay? Corporates are made out of individuals, what they call individual rights. Another corporate is also human. Human means the many colors of man, and that comes under coloring of the law, which is a crime to perform against any man or woman. To paraphrase that, we write a constitution out. Somebody rewrites the constitution by saying some animals are more equal than others. Now, that means is that all the other animals will now have to work very hard to prove that they are more equal than each other. Do you understand Orwell's book, what he is teaching you? Orwell is a Crown agent. They speak to you in code. So let me paraphrase. We all get together and have a revolution. We overthrow the farmer who has intention of harvesting us, because all farm animals essentially will be worked to death or killed for food or fur or wool or whatever it is. In doing so, we need something to work on, so we create a constitution. That constitution says clearly all animals are equal, period. And then the pigs get greedy, and in the back, they rewrite the constitution, and that's called an amendment. And an amendment requires no other parties involved. It means I'm going to hide it from you. Okay, and then I write an amendment without consulting you, because that's what amendment means. It means no mending. I write the words, all animals are equal, which is what we agreed upon. And the amendment is, but some animals are more equal than others. In doing so, they have now put themselves more equal than any other animals, and they have also put you in an impossible situation, the other animals, which is you now have to prove that you are more equal than each other. Now war breaks out. Do you understand what I'm saying? They're about to play the same game on you, so you don't touch your own corona. And they've brought in a lot of professionals to do that, especially in Canada. And I don't want to name and shame them because I want to give them an opportunity to correct themselves. This would include talk show hosts as well. Very famous one with a J in it, but I don't want to name and shame him because I want to give him an opportunity to not to go the way that Alex Jones did, which is a legal fiction. Okay, and they bought them in for you to reconstitute and accept the amendments that the government's going to make, which you had nothing to do with. Does everybody here, put your thumbs up, understood the significance and the explanatory reach of what I have just said to you? Okay, thank you very much. It is entirely up to you whether you wish to put a postcode in upper or lowercase. Entirely up to you. I've tried all mechanisms, that's what that is. With the date, you can put it in as any date that you want, as long as it's not futuristic. You can put it from the day that you was born, entirely up to you, but not a day before. Like, for example, if today is the 24th, don't go and put, the 30th, because then she will start everything on the 30th, the coroner. Okay? Full stop. I'm going to explain to you what these words mean. Notice to agent is notice to, sorry, notice to agent is notice to principal, notice to principal is notice to agent. What that means is that when you want to speak to what is known as a agency, all agencies are beneath men and women to provide them essential services, including CIA, FBI, government organizations, and all other officials that write their name on Wikipedia as their legal fiction. You just have to look up what the name of your prime minister is or your county coroner, and it will tell you how to write their name, okay? But you are not writing to the county coroner in legal fiction terms, but by the name that she provides you with to provide that service for you, okay? And that will normally be on some sort of Wikipedia reference library. They always must put it in the reference library, as well as on Wikipedia and on the internet. That information will be freely given to you. So when you want to speak to an agency, these are the words that you put in, and that initiates what's known as agency. So when I want to give the FBI or the Interpol some instructions about fraudsters and stuff, I would put this word in and they'll know what to do because I'll give them the instructions, full stop. In conventional language, and this is what this is written in conventional language, an affidavit is like a statement of facts or truth, okay? According to your word. Your word is your bond, by the way. So all of you would have watched my video, and that is your bond. If you break your bond, then you're in problem. If you write and make claims that don't exist, they will prove that you are an idiot and they will keep you as the dead, okay? An affidavit is a statement of facts or truth of a special appearance. What that means in law is that you are there quite literally on special appearance. So you've come along uninvited on special appearance because you can do that, and you are handing this document in by hand with proof of delivery or through the postal system or both. Or you can just hire a service processor, which will cost you around about 80 euros to deliver this on your behalf. And they will do that by hand for you, okay? And notice of estoppel. Estoppel is a common law word, but not designated within the common law. It essentially means it's a final stop. Instead of saying final stop, they say estoppel, all right? It's all kind of fiction words, but that's what that is, okay, full stop. This is what you need to do. Write her name or his name. They mostly tend to be women these days. I don't know why, okay? But they are mostly women, that's that. And they are all lawyers. They are not medically trained. And, you know, I'm able to train people to be a coroner because of my position as a Chief-Federal-Postal-Court-Judge and a plenipotentiary judge. But that's not what this is for, okay? And I will give you the end conclusions as on why I'm doing this for the entire planet later on. So you put her name in there, and you always write to her in a private and public capacity because she has both. You're writing to her as a woman and also writing to her as an agent operator, okay? Full stop. And in her capacity. Capacity means, you know, holder of energy on a geometric level playing field or a geometric field. What that means is that the reason why I'm under the penalty of perjury all the time is because I'm on a geometric level playing field with everybody. Games are played, court cases are held all on a geometric level playing field. If I do that, then I'm disabling you, okay? So irrespective of what it is, your claim is a geometric level playing field. Otherwise, what's the point of it? And you now put her under the penalty of perjury, which means to tell the truth. And you are to keep this correspondence in your court of records as retrospective correction, which means from the date that the corruption took place, okay? Because all crimes are retrospectively stopped if you needed to. And you would just simply put your name in here, the non-begeared, you know, the living man in body, spirit, non-adversity, non-combatant, non-belligerent. Combatant means you're not in combat. Belligerent means you're not in warfare. Secured party creditor. What that means, secured creditor or creditors, depending upon what you want to use. If it's a plural, and I'll put a stroke there in front of that. Okay. If it's two of you, then you would use a plural. If it's not, just do what you need to do. Secured creditor means that you have not surrendered your money, your life, your DNA, your breath, your children, and etc. to custody, to the bank, coroner, government, or anything. At the moment, the reason why the courts are running riot over you and the governments and the police is because they are the custodians that you entrusted with them by signing away your all powers of attorney. And for the Irish people, this is to reverse that. Sorry, give me a minute. I've been teaching since 10 o'clock, so my throat is getting quite dry now. Whew, that feels better. So as you folks know, I've done quite a lot of, me and Irene have done a few videos on the fact that the government in your Irish country, as well as every country in the world, actually has one of these documents that makes them a holder of your all powers of attorney. All powers of attorney is essentially me signing over my life and all decision-making to use, or one of yous, to run my entire life. You decide whether I live, die, vaccinated, or anything else. These documents will reverse that. Okay, and always, you can always write in your sound mind. If you take alcohol, you're not in your sound mind, because alcohol is a spirit, and that spirit will remove your own spirit and put its own alcoholic spirit inside of you to alter your mind. You must understand this, and that's the county coroner's language that they use. They say alcohol is a spirit, which means the spirit of the alcohol is now going to replace yours. And if you want to know the evidence of it, get drunk, because you're out of your mind, okay? Non-adverse, non-belligerent, secured creditor, which means you're not giving your credit to anybody else and you're withdrawing it, and that you are underwriter of. That means the man that controls everything, or woman, is able to go to the underworld as well as travel under every plane. There are called planes. And you are now the underwriter. It's also another language of funeral directors. That's why the courts say to you, go and do your undertaking. That means go and speak to your funeral director, because you are dead in this court. That's the language of the dead. That's also the language of the county coroner. They have their own dictionary and their own language that they use, full stop. And you are the sole beneficiary of everything that you do on the artificial person, which is normally written like this, nom de guerre. Okay, so you have even the ability to go to the underworld. These stories are not as weird as you think they are. As a plenipotentiary judge, as well as what is known as the 13th of the 13th month, I'm able to travel in all manner of planes. And I have seen and I've done these things. I've talked to government officials and they try to get themselves on the plane. They actually jump on top of boxes and chairs to make sure they are never on the level playing field. So you imagine a politician jumping on his desk so he can't hear me, because he's being confronted by a plenipotentiary. Yeah, or the judge simply leaving the room because they're confronted by a fact. And I've done these things. This is all first-hand knowledge. Okay. If you witnessed a minute of my life, you would understand the length and breadth of experiences that I have. So when I tell you, when politicians are confronted by me in the office or whatever, they just simply break the continuation of evidence by jumping on a desk or their chair or taking their feet away off the floor, because they're not allowed to be on a level playing field with a fact. They have submitted to the underworld in order to lie, cheat. And if they get caught lying on a level playing field, it almost certainly means a death sentence for them. Okay. There are severe consequences to this if they break that law. And I've seen it played out time and time again in places that you cannot imagine. Full stop. Affidavit of special appearance, notice of the estoppel of sound body, and full power of attorney. So this document takes full power of attorney back from your government, and you file it with the county coroner. This particular line is purely optional for you, but I won't spend too much time on it. When you write like this and put your passport number in, your passport number is all you require to start your own bank. You can become as powerful as the Rothschilds if you know the mechanism, and I ain't teaching it to you. But if you want to make yourself banker, which means you are in control of your own banking, you can put your passport number in there, thumbprint it if you want, and that will make you banker. If you have a live life claim, which is an incredibly powerful document, you can write in the number here and the live life claim, but take it out of italic if you have it. If you don't have it, it's fine. If you want to buy one, you can go on my website and you do have to pay for it. But by doing this, you don't need a live life claim. But if you want to do it at a later stage under Miller's technology that displays to the entire world who you are and what you are, and that you know and can control language. He who controls grammar controls all commercial activity. Okay, that's what David Wayne Miller's technology was about. My
Mark,
God, this
just
computer wants to
referring
go to... No questions, please.
Sorry.
So it's entirely optional. If you don't understand this technology, just get rid of it. Okay, but I'm not teaching it to you today. It's only because some of my other students here and they know how to control it. So I thought I'd give them the opportunity to do that. The third sentence is the geometric level playing field, things that you know. This document was for the Americans. Okay, so you would just simply correct that for whichever country it is. So in this status, this would be Ireland. Ireland passes statutes which are artificial, where no general law affecting private rights shall be varied in any case by special legislation except for free consent in writing, blah, 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 blah. Okay, this means that you are in full control of what you're doing, okay, and all derivatives thereof. Any works that I do as a carpenter or as a chef, you know, I like cooking, all that belongs to me, unless I decide to give it away to you guys like this. I'm the chef of this, so I'm giving it away and I'm in control of it. Okay, that's what that is. So I'm in control of all of these things, because he who creates things, their works are their own and cannot ever be trespassed upon without consent. That's why they go to incredible lengths to write to you and convolute you in any which way they can. This is the final element, is that you can give them 3 days, or you can give them 10 days. And I'll write it in for you. If you give them 3 days, perfectly fine. If you give them 10 days, that's perfectly fine. I've tried all of these things and they work. That includes the courts. I give them 3 days to write back to me and they do. They always do. Okay, but that's me. If I give them 10 days, they do like to take their time. Okay, so for the coroner, 3 days is enough. If you want to give them 10 days because they're overworked, because they've got so many dead people in their hands, if you know what I mean, okay, full stop. And what this center is basically saying is if she doesn't write back to you, she's accepted it. Okay, so she has to rebut it. And we've never had it rebutted. Let me rephrase that. With the exception of one case that's got nothing to do with this, which was a mortgage case, they've never rebutted it. Okay, so that's what that is. And we've sent out thousands of these things. I look forward to your correspondence back by postal mail under the penalty of perjury. These sentences are known as self-fulfilling prophecies, which means you're closing off all loops that they cannot try to escape out of. Okay, that's what that is. Here, you would put your autograph, like your first two names, thumbprint it in red or blue. Red or blue is perfectly fine. If you've got witnesses, that's quite good. If you don't have any witnesses, don't worry about it, because you can always witness, self-witness. And if you wish to CC in the county recorder, Securities and Commissions in New York, Experia, which is in Ireland, TransUnion International, these are credit agencies, you're essentially withdrawing your use of your credit. Sorry, the use of your credit, because they're living on your credit. That stops it from them selling your credit on the open market. These things are incredibly powerful, but I cannot spend like 20, 30 hours educating you on it. But they are sufficient for you to know that all corporations have no energy apart from the energy that you lend them. And you're withdrawing your lending. That's all you're doing. And if you wish to send it to the Financial Conduct Authority, help yourself. Okay. Now, for posting, you decide. If you send it by post, put the serial number here and then autograph it and thumbprint it as you do. Okay. So if it's a sticker, just put the sticker there. If it's American, you have to write the name in sometimes, write in the words, the letters, write it in, thumbprint it, and that will make you the postmaster on this document. Once you have done that, turn the document over and put another postage stamp on it, date it, just a postage stamp, $1 is okay, €1 is perfectly fine. Just date it, autograph it, not signature, autograph. You can see all those things on my website, thumbprint it, and that's fine. The reason why you're dating it is because postage is normally dated, okay? And you can date it retrospective if you want. Listen to me very carefully about what I'm about to say to you, because most people are under presumption and assumption. So in order to do that, I'm just going to play a game with, let's pick a person here. There's a man there called Mary. I'm not going to speak to him because I'm not convinced he's Mary. So I'll speak to Meryl. Meryl, can you turn your mic on? We're going to play a little game.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. We're going to play a game. Go with the narrative, okay? What I want you to do, Meryl, since we are friends, okay, we've known each other for a little while. Yesterday, I had a car accident. A brown colored car hit me in my car, damaged my white car, and she's disappeared. Where is she gone? Anyway, let's just still play the game. Okay. Can you witness, can you help me out and be the witness for my insurance saying that, you know, what I'm saying is true? Could you do that for me?
Well, only if I were there.
You're not going to do that for me, even though we're friends?
Well, since I wasn't there, I couldn't be a witness.
I'll give you £100 if you do.
Well, sorry.
Okay. So what the lady's basically saying is that if she ever witnessed something she's not and does not know, she's broken the penalty of perjury. And that's a 7-year prison sentence. Okay. So if you're going to use witnesses, make sure that you've known them and they are trustworthy, because nobody can witness other people's documents unless you know them. Full stop. Okay, never use a witness you do not know. Never, never, ever do it. Full stop. Okay, so that is that. I think I've explained everything I need to. So I'm going to put, actually, I'll leave the document open. I'll open up the floor for questions. Please do not ask me reactionary questions. Okay, no reactionary questions. And also think about your questions. If you're going to make a statement, tell me, Mark, I want to make a statement. Can you check my statement is accurate? Okay, learn your communication. So if you're going to give me a recipe, thank you very much, but don't ask me about a recipe unless you tell me this is a recipe. If you're going to make a statement, make the statement, but let me know first. A question must sound like a question. Okay, if it's a question, you will hear it clearly. If it's a statement, you got to qualify it. So I will be quite stringent on this. All right, so I'm now going to open up the floor for questions. Do not compete. If you compete, you will lose. Okay, you will lose the collective mind.
Gilbert Cooper has a question.
Are you Gilbert Cooper?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
My question is, I missed the first part about the document. I was in the break room having lunch. I'm trying to look at it over all these guys fumbling on talking, and I missed the first part. Was that something that you brought up or something that I could bring up on a computer?
I'll take the next question. I'm sorry, I'm not being rude with you, but I'll take the next question.
Mark, the document that you're talking about and have talked about there, will it be available now for us to download? Will you have it there available for us to download?
Who am I speaking to?
It's Noel here from Derry in Northern Ireland.
Yes, on the email I said I'll give you the documents, yes.
Thank you.
Next question.
Mark, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. Questions I want to the first important question is, my married name is Bianca Booth, but my birth certificate is Bianca Grzyńska. So how would I write any forms? Would I put it as Bianca Grzyńska or as my married name?
What would you like to do, darling?
Just make it legitimate so they know me as Bianca Grzyńska, but my passport's Bianca Booth for the last 10, 15 years.
What's your first names?
My birth certificate's Bianca.
What's your first names?
My first name's Bianca.
So hold on, darling, let me finish. Let me finish. What is your first names that's got nothing to do with your husband or has nothing to do with your father's name or your family name?
Oh, okay. Bianca Teresa.
You got your answer. Next question.
Yeah, Mark.
Yep.
This is Willie from Chicago, Illinois.
This question is.
Yeah, Chicago. I'm speaking to Chicago, so everybody just be quiet, please. Yes.
Yeah, my question is, Mark, did I hear you correctly? Your signature and your autograph are two different things.
Your signature, yes, it is. Your signature is a simulation of your nature. It's an artificial instrument. Your autograph is legible. Signature comes also from the word cursive, which means you're in cursive, which means you are dead. Okay, that's what that means. An autograph, if you want to know how to do an autograph, that's on my website. I'll leave you to it. Now, since you're in Chicago, I've asked people to find me certain people, the county coroner there, a particular judge, and also a clerk that's on my website. That would really help me out if you go look for them and find out where their home addresses are.
I would do that, Mark. Yes.
Yeah, and I think I've given everybody on the live presentation that I called their names out. If you can do that in the next few days, that'd be much appreciated because I need to have them arrested.
Who do you need here in Chicago?
Sorry?
What are the persons you're looking for here in Chicago?
It's on my website. I forgot their names, but it's a judge, a clerk of the court, a county coroner, and yeah, so it's a judge, county coroner, a clerk, and a sheriff. Okay, and they're in Illinois. All right, and if you email me, their names, I'll send it to you. Because I have so many names in my head, I can't remember who they are.
Okay, I'll go on the website and look for the persons you're looking for.
It's best for you to email me because my website is very large. Okay.
Okay, I'll send you the email right away.
Thank you very much. And say on there that I asked you, you know, for you to provide me with the names of that judge and things, and then we can take it further, because it takes a lot of effort for me to do these things, you know?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Will do.
Yeah. Next question.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Hi, first of all, thanks for giving us this information. My question is in regards to the coroner's office. Are we sending this to the coroner of our birth state or where we're currently located?
Where you're currently located is where you would send it. If you want to correct the status of your place that you was birth, you can do that as well. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Next question.
Hi, this is Shabad Sangeet. I've corrected my status already, so I'm not sure how that affects what you're talking about, but I wanted to ask you, what is a financial conduit authority?
In this country, we call them financial services authority that regulate the bankings. And they're there pretending that they regulate banking, but they're actually giving the means for them to use your security in order to, you know, create money from your securities. It's just an agency in this country. You have your own, it's called Securities and Exchange Commission.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next question.
Hi, Mark. Elaine here. I'm just wondering, can a witness be a JP to sign paperwork?
If you can find a justice of the peace, yes, but please do not confuse a justice of the peace with what is known as a public notary, because a public notary only notifies actors' documents. Only actors' documents. And if you want to be an actor, you would go to a public notary. If you're not an actor, you're a man or woman, you would go to a JP, which is called a justice of the peace. Yes, you can have this document witnessed by a justice of the peace. In this country, we can't find one. But there used to be one in every library in England until about 6 or 7 years ago, but they all disappeared.
A public notary, is that the court?
I don't know what that means.
Okay.
I've given you the designation.
Yeah.
A public notary is a person that witnesses other persons' documents, not the documents of men and women. A justice of the peace witnesses documents of men and women.
Yes.
One artificial, which is called a public notary, and another one, which is justice of the peace for factual men and women. Next question, please.
Mark, my question is, in France, my recipe is, in France, somebody said that the post office here had been taken over by the government.
I can't hear you, but I can't answer the question for you.
Okay.
Yeah, it does not matter. Who gives a damn about who's taken over what, long as you stick it on the post office, and you can send it to you can send it from any country in the world. Yeah, including Italy, Mars, wherever there's a post office. If there's one, you can send it. Okay.
Right, thank you.
Mark.
I will accept about 5 more questions, but before that, I'm going to make it very clear. You guys are here to spread this news amongst people that are doing the Freedom Convoy, and you're not here just for yourself. If you are just here for yourself and you want to get a freebie, I'll be very quick and strong with my language. F off. F off. I'm not here to service self-interest people. I've had enough of that kind of garbage. If you want to, use this, and that's what it's for, I'm happy, full stop. And I'm giving these guys to you as a gift because the Canadians have asked me to do this. The Americans have asked me to do it. That's all. Okay. So I'm going to repeat myself. You're going to do nothing with this. Really F off from my course. Just leave. Okay. Just go away. Don't email me. Don't talk to me. Don't do anything. But if you want to use this to help yourselves, your family, to get out of the goddamn situation that you guys found yourself in because you believed everything when the banking was good, when the money was coming in, they sold you everything. Now it's not, you're crying. So I'm being very personal with you because you need to know that if you don't stop this, the Elizabeth II will successfully steal your crown and your children's crown. Okay.
Now, question. Mark. Sorry.
Okay. Next question, please.
Hello, Mark. I'd like to ask you a question on behalf of some of my fellows and myself.
Yeah, sure. Who is yourself and your fellow selves? That's sounds a lot of legal fictions there.
Okay. My name is Dylan Cagg. I don't really think of myself as a fiction. My fellows are my uncle. I don't know that he would want me to present his name, and I don't know that my other fellows would like me to present a name, so I'll own this, if that's okay.
Then in that case, just speak for yourself and not your fellows, because anybody that doesn't want to reveal their names and stuff and wants to act in the secrecy, just don't bother me with it.
I just don't know, so I hear you, and it's just for me. Okay, I apologize for taking your time. I want to make this quick. It's not complicated, I don't think. I've been really interested in this kind of information for a long time, but the same issue still surfaces for me. And I believe my uncle put this in the following form, very to the point.
I'm going to pause a minute. Everybody switch your mic off, so I don't have to do it. Remember, this is self-governance. Yeah, you govern yourself, you control yourself. Without that, you will lose your game to Queen Elizabeth II. That is waiting in the corners to snatch your children. And if you think I'm joking, I have seen it. I have seen them snatch children from hospital. I have seen it. Have no mistake. Yeah, they will remove organs, sell them on, as they do in Chicago, to 100,000 babies in the last decade, which David Way Miller was dealing with until he passed away. Okay. So, Daryl, darling, do continue.
Thank you. And to that point, in preparing myself to share your information, this same issue, I'll call it, keeps coming up. And I think my uncle said it very well. Although I prepare you, it's very in the vernacular. I do not mean to offend anyone.
Please. Okay, let me stop you again.
Yep.
Let me not get too emotional. The reason why the Canadians are doing what they're doing is because they basically said, fuck off, we're not pleasing anybody. We don't care if we, disapprove you or, we're not going to be politically polite. So you're not going to apologize for offending anybody. If anybody's offended, fuck off. Okay?
Thank you.
So that's what that is. So speak freely, okay?
Thank you. He would love that. He was with the Canadian Army. Okay, so he's presenting a scenario with 3 options. And so we're looking for your comment on this scenario with 3 options. So a cop or army guys of the sort, something like that, etc., wants to put one of us in cuffs. We spew the spew and tell them if they continue, then we will strip their badge off and arrest and detain them, etc. So what happens then? A, do they tear off their own badges and handcuff themselves? B, engage in a lively debate about the legal complexities and at the very least leave us alone? Or C, arrest us anyway, and if we resist, add it to the list of charges and taser beat the fuck out of us and ignore all the mumbo jumbo arguments? I hope that was clear.
Yeah, so I'll express it to you this way. Which part of the world are you in?
Canada.
Okay. Once you have this document and you've put it in and you have an authentic copy of it, and you carry it with you and just simply show them and tell them that you're a postmaster of it, okay, and that you've been trained by me, and if they do not resist and desist in what they're doing, then you will strip them of their badge, okay, and you will call in the coroner's office to have you arrested for interfering with a man or a woman, and you can detain them, okay. As far as I know, your president has, the country's prime minister or president has removed the emergency act thing. Okay, that was under 3 days rescission. So that's what that is. If there are other people there and they tracer you, if people don't come to your rescue, as it were, because they're you're not in their own frame of mind, then you're just dealing with cowards. I have been in situations that are in your situation. I've done it on a much larger scale. Believe me, these things work. They have a lot of power. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Can I try to speak back to you what I think I understood? I don't want to take your time.
Yeah, sure, that's fine. You're here to take my time, so I'm giving it freely, so you might as well make use of it.
Thank you. So, one, you have had success with the people around you standing up with you.
No. I rely on nobody. I rely on nobody. I do everything that I do by myself, for myself. And if other people join me, they join me and they become witnesses and do the same thing. You know, one such case is me and Alex went to Lloyd's of London. He's one of the judges. And we shut down Lloyd's of London for, the period that we was there. Yeah, and that's on record and all that sort of stuff. So I rely on nobody, but you being a lady have to rely on a man. If you can't rely on men, then you're on a different world, on a different planet. Okay, that's the plain fact of it. So what I'm saying to you, if men are too cowardly to protect their women, there's nothing I can do for them. They're not. You're not dealing with men. These are not men. I don't know what they are. You might need to ask the county coroner who they are. They might find a name for it. I'm just being very direct with you. I have never relied on other people to do my fight. I've never done it, and I never will. Yeah. But what I'm saying to you is that if there are witnesses and they remain calm and they have their documents at hand and you explain it to them, and if they proceed any further, you use these words: I will call the county coroner to have you arrested. Yeah, and if you guys prove yourself, as I did with the Canadians, I can teach you to become a coroner if you wanted to, as a plenipotentiary judge, but you need to prove yourself with these things, because I'm not going to teach it to anybody. Yeah, that sort of stuff.
Mark, can I ask a question?
Not Rhett, because she has not finished.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Much more. It speaks to the beauty of how wonderful it is when a certain person stands in courage on their own to speak for who and what they believe in, regardless of.
Yeah, and you've been served notice hundreds of times on television, newspapers, and things like that by actors as well as genuine men. That includes Tiananmen Square, where the Chinese orchestrated that for the benefit of the Chinese people and saying you can bring our armies to an end if you wanted to by just doing this. They did that to tell Chinese people how powerful you are. But if you're going to be lambs, we'll treat you like that. Yeah, that was a demonstration from the Chinese government to saying that you can stop our armies if you wanted to. You can turn all our tanks around and send them back if you wanted to, but you have to be a man about it and you have to be a woman about it. We will not talk to or engage anything less than a man. And you've got to understand what a man is. That is what a man is. Yeah, it's got no ego. It's got none of this bullshit ideas about something. Yeah, it talks with first-hand knowledge. It talks with dignity and all that sort of stuff. Okay. And I suppose in a long, repeated, winded way, what I'm saying is that I'm not really impressed with men. I really am not impressed with men. Yeah. That's what that is. So sorry about the directness, darling, but I'm not politically shy, as it were, or correct. Okay.
Okay, thank you so very much.
Yeah, that's fine. Next question.
Or can I ask my question?
Okay, I'm going to give you an answer. No.
Yeah.
Just ask it, my friend. You know.
Yes. During the presentation, I asked about if it's a good idea if you have your live life claim with you. when
Yes.
you're going to
Yes. It's
coroner's
one of the
office.
most powerful documents you can have.
And my other question is it okay if I could use your videos? Because in some of your videos,
Sorry,
you
stop,
said you
please,
can-
stop. If you can use what?
in some of your videos, you told everybody, all of your subscribers, that you can upload your videos on their channel to spread your message
Yes.
to people.
Yes, please do.
Can I use only those who you say publicly, or can I ask you those specifically? Should I mail you? Can I use this one, or should I just upload it?
I'm sorry, I don't understand. So what I'm saying is that anything that's in the public domain on YouTube, you can download it and upload it to your own YouTube for the purposes of making money or monetizing, etc., or to spread the news. Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, because I was asking about some of your videos. You say you can upload this on your channel to spread the word.
Everything that is in the public domain,
yeah,
okay, under Commons license on my YouTube, that's non-private. That's non-private. I'm not talking about my private videos for my students and things. I'm talking about everything that's in the public. You can download and upload it to your channel, and you can do with it what you want. Okay?
Yes.
And
thank you.
if you monetize it, you'll make money from it. Yeah, because my videos reach, the good ones reach about 100,000, 200,000, that sort of stuff. The not so interesting ones still reach about 20,000. That's like $200 a month to you. Yeah, YouTube will pay you very well because YouTube is going to become extinct very quickly. Okay, and they're trying to retain their business. All right, so you can monetize it. There are people that quite literally get a £3,000-4,000 paycheck by uploading other people's YouTube videos. Yeah, not necessarily mine, but other people's. So that all those sort of systems are in the way. What's your name, by the way? Is it Zafik?
Zarif.
Zarif, yeah. So help yourself, Zarif.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. I'm thinking more about spreading your message. And
yeah, what I'm saying to you, if you make money from it, the message will go a lot faster because YouTube likes you to make money so they can spread the money as well. So it's a monetary thing. Yeah, the easiest way to spend money, as they're saying, is that make money from it, and then we'll spread the message even more, because every time you make money, they make money. So it's better than putting your money in the bank, isn't it?
Mark.
Sorry about that.
Pauline Watch, Ireland. Does your passport number have to be an in-date passport number on the letter?
What did you say? What did you say?
When you're using on the letter, when you're putting your passport number on, has it to be an in-date passport? Say if my passport is out of date last month and I haven't renewed it yet.
That's fine. It's fine. You can put whatever passport you want number on it. If you want to go much further, you can use your driving license if you want.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mark, I have a question. Do I get this translated into French for the French people?
It's up to you, darling. It's up to you. I'll leave it up to you. This is,
I mean,
I've given it to you. You do what you want with it. You can also put your terms and conditions in. You know, if you know how to use these things, you can do a lot of things with it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about getting stopped by a policeman in France. But right, the other thing.
Listen. Let's hold on a minute, please. Hold on. Your signal is very poor. Your signal is very poor. And can I ask you to not go down the road of conspiracy and also, you know, fear mongering and things? There's nothing wrong with being stopped by the police, nothing wrong whatsoever. Yeah. Has it ever occurred to you they're just checking on you? You know, give them the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. That sort of stuff. Okay. So don't go conspiratorial over it. You can translate it to whatever language you want, but just make sure that your translation means exactly what it means rather than, you know, ordering a baguette for the lunch, as it were. Okay.
Well, the good thing is I've got a French solicitor who isn't into all the vaccinations conspiracy and all that. So
Look, if you hire a solicitor, he is a agent of the Crown, and his job is to make sure that he thwarts it. Okay. So solicitors cannot help you, lawyers cannot help you, because I've just given you all powers of attorney. And if you don't understand that, you don't need a judge, you don't need a lawyer, then I have not communicated my message correctly with you. The reason why you hire a lawyer is because you are unable to read and write, and you have become a ward of the court. The reason why you hire an accountant is because you can't count your own goddamn money, and therefore you are innumerate. You are giving evidence how innumerate, how illiterate you are when you hire people to do your job. Okay?
No, what I meant was he's a friend of mine and he's against all that's happening.
That's fine, darling. That's fine. But he has to work in his private capacity with you. He can't do it in his public capacity because he's only an actor for the Crown, and he'll screw you up. Otherwise, he'll lose his license. And he's not going to lose a license which he makes several £100,000 with just to help you. Okay?
Can you mention the white flag to the Canadians and the Australian?
Any flag that you fly, if you don't have custody of it, somebody else has, you are supporting them. Canadian flag is a corporate flag. You can fly a white flag and put your own terms and conditions in. You can just call it a peace flag, communication flag, you know, happy McDonald flag, as long as you're not using a corporate flag. Okay.
Mark,
yeah.
The names of, it's Noel here from Derry in Ireland, the names of the people that you're looking for, are they on the website? We run a wee website called commonlawsense.org, and we would have good connections here in Ireland. We're running a gathering of the clans this year, so we could probably find some of these people for you.
Yes, please. You know, can you email me to ask to provide you with that list, and we'll send you that list. And I don't know if it's on my website because I don't control it. Other people do. I'm in control of it, but I don't have any IT skills to control it. That's all that is. Okay. So email me. Make sure you say that I said so about the people we're looking for in Ireland. Otherwise, the staff will get confused. Okay.
Right, Mark, thank you very much.
All right. I'm happy to take, shall we say, another 4 questions, and then we'll call it a day, okay?
Mark, I have a question. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
It's Karen. I'm from South Africa. I just wanted to find out on the letter where you've got Commonwealth, and then you put whichever Commonwealth. What would you do for South Africa?
Well, first of all, check if the South Africa is part of the Commonwealth, which I can do now.
I don't think that they are. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think that they are any longer.
Well, I will give you an answer in a few seconds, shall I?
Thank you.
Is South Africa part of the Commonwealth?
According to Wikipedia, South Africa was readmitted to the Commonwealth in 1994, following its first multiracial elections that year.
Oh my gosh. That's
okay. So the transfer of sovereignty over Hong Kong in 1997 handed the territory state as part of the Commonwealth through the United Kingdom. So South Africa, it says, was readmitted to the Commonwealth in 1994. And do you know which son of a bitch did that for you?
Nelson Mandela.
Correct. Yeah.
That is, oh my gosh, that is very interesting. Okay. All right. So Commonwealth of South Africa then. Okay. Thank you very much.
But you check it. Wikipedia will give you all this information. So will your own consulate give you that information.
Okay. And then, sorry, just one more question quickly. This letter as well, can you use this? I know to send to the coroner, but can you use it for back if you have a mortgage?
I don't know. I've never done it for a mortgage in that sense. And I'm only teaching people, for these, removing and getting your crown back, not solving your mortgage. Yeah, full stop. As far as I know, I'm the only one that's capable of doing it. And that's a long journey and you have to pay for that. Okay. But if you wish to experiment with it, a happy experiment with it, but I can't take responsibility for it. Because remember, I take responsibility for everything.
Yes,
I say so, yeah, but I can't take responsibility for that because I've never used it for that reason in that way.
Okay.
Okay, if I'm correct, you should be able to have a great deal of success, but South Africa is a country of absolute brutes. Okay, you have private armies in your country that is stealing your property. That's Vanguard. That's the Vanguard group through BlackRock stealing hundreds of your properties because you went and ticked that box called white South African, black South African, colored South African, and shot yourself in your foot.
Yep. If only we'd known better.
Oh, yes, you knew better. It's just when you understand the psychology of it, you will understand they learn how to speak to your spirit. That's called your subconscious mind. And since you gave up your subconscious mind for the almighty dollar, they treat you with absolute contempt. And when you practice apartheid, you proved them that you are below men and women. Yeah, and that's why the world was never told that your #1 artist was a black Mexican singer called Rodriguez, who was the champion for over like 30, 40 years. It's because the world of fiction does incredible things to twist the minds of people. All we knew is that you were racist, bigoted people. But in reality, I know your country very well. At that time, I was going out with gosh, that was a very long time ago. But she was South African and she used to educate me on it. And she used to do lectures on South African culture, especially the variety of races there,
Yeah, plenty of them.
Yeah. So
excuse me, Mark. This is Alex from Florida. I have a quick question for you.
Yeah, sure.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. With the witnesses for the form, do they have to be live life claimants?
No.
Because
this has got nothing to do with live life claimants.
No, the witnesses, the people who witnessed the form.
Like I've answered your question, which is no, they do not need to be, but they just need to be knowing you, because anybody that witnesses you without knowing you has already committed a felony. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much.
All right.
Mark, Louise, sorry.
Yeah, Louise.
Hello, from the west of Ireland. Mark, can I just ask if we get into altercation with the forces of the law, are we in the same position as the Canadians? Can we ask them to call the coroner's office when we present this notice?
No, that's not what I said. Why would you get yourself into an altercation? Yeah, you're carrying a document, you've told them what it is, and if you interfere with the movements of men and women, I will call the county coroner and have you arrested. How would you like to proceed?
Okay.
Okay, just that.
Thank you.
Mark, this is Michael in Ireland. Do we put in the Central Bank of Ireland instead of the Financial Conduct Authority?
I wouldn't know, because who controls and polices your banking? I don't know.
The Central Bank of Ireland. The Central Bank of Ireland.
I have hundreds of clients in your country and I cannot remember, so I'm not going to give you an answer.
Okay.
But any one of your research will be able to find that out. I actually forgotten. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
It's fine.
Hi, Mark. It's Corey here from Canada. Sorry.
All right.
I just want to know how we can use this document to protect our sons and daughters. especially if they're too young to write their own autograph? Would we just put their thumbprint on there?
Yeah, you'll create a line saying that they are, what would be a better word for children? Children means ward of state. Somebody help me out here. What would be a better word than children?
Offspring.
Offspring.
Youngins.
Offspring.
Yeah, offspring essentially means you're going to cut off spring.
Young man, young woman.
Yes, exactly.
Daughters.
Would they be our heirs?
Yeah, heirs is good. Yeah.
Okay.
And also master is good.
Sons and daughters.
Master is good. Heirs is okay as well. Yeah.
Sons and daughters.
Yeah, sons and daughters. That's really good.
Okay.
See, that's why you have all of these words. Each word opens a contract.
Yeah.
Each word opens a contract. If you knew these words correctly, you will be able to even open up your genetic code, because genetics works on parse, the parts of a word, parts of a speech. They recognize it and they come alive and go to sleep on command from you or other people. Have no mistake. The reason why they are able to do what they're doing is because they're in control of your gene, which is another word for genetic code. That's how they've took your genuinity away from you, your authority away from you, and everything pertaining to a genie. Okay, it's all one word, and for some reason I'm the only one that seems to know this or spread this information. The rest just talk. You know, I don't know why, but that's the situation I find myself in.
Hi, Mark.
Will we download this this coroner's form and share it? Is that okay?
I'm not sure what you're asking me, darling.
This form that you've just showed us, can we share this form to everybody, like the Freedom Convoy, everyone?
That is
So
correct.
they can all
Yes.
print their own.
That is correct. Make it your own, share it with anybody you want.
Hi, Mark. This is Samantha from Jamaica. Okay, so my question is the document that you just shared, is it the same as nationalization?
I have no idea what that means.
It's a document that I was always told about, that you have to do a nationalization so you can come from under the corporation.
Yes, this
Is it
would
the
cover
same
that.
thing?
No, it's not the same thing, but you can
Okay.
use it for that reason as well. Okay.
Okay. How can I get a live life claim, please?
You go to my website, you pay for it, and you'll get all the information.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Hi, Mark.
Yeah, hi.
Hi. Am I on? Someone else?
I can hear you.
Gil-
Yeah, I can hear you. I think your name is Cooper, so just ask what you need to ask.
Do you have to put one stamp on each page of your letters?
No, just at the back is fine. The one at the bottom where the autograph is the registered post sticker. The registered post sticker. Okay. Not certified mail in the US, but registered post sticker. If you're going to hand deliver it, then you hand deliver it with proof. If you want to use a service processor because you just don't want to have a drive, help yourself. You know, they'll do a good job, the service processor. And you can, if you know the address, you can serve it in hand at their own home address, including your prime minister, coroner, judge, anybody in the world. Okay. Everybody's official is under what is known as the private-public partnership. So they can't hide in the private. Okay.
Okay.
Mark?
Is Gilbert going to speak now?
Yes, my question mark was, do you have anyone in Houston, Texas that you're looking on your list of names?
I don't. No, I don't. the reason why we're looking for the Chicago people is because they've been giving me a lot of trouble. That's the reason why. I didn't know it was a rogue state. I didn't think you had rogue states in the United States, but you know, I've never heard of a rogue state, actually. I've not even heard of a rogue country. I've heard of a rogue man or a woman that's gone a bit berserk, but a state, that's a peculiar state of affairs, isn't it? A rogue state, you know. How does a state go rogue? That means Washington, D.C. has lost control of it, yeah?
I'm Mark.
Okay. Yes, Mark. Samantha here again. How do I get the document that you have just shared?
I said I'll send it to everybody.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Mark.
Hi,
Can
Mark.
you hear? Oh, gosh.
One at a
Do
time.
I send a copy? Do I send a copy? Do I keep the original for myself? How do we process this?
You can send a copy of it, or you can send the original, but you must always keep a record of it for yourself called your court of record. Okay?
For sure. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hello.
Now, everybody understands. Everybody understands that I'm doing this for the benefit of mankind, not humankind.
Yes, sir.
Everybody understands that. Okay,
Yes.
and I'm doing it because Canadians have asked me to do it, and some other people asked me to do it, and I thought it'd be the right time to release this type of information. Okay. All right.
Made it some importance to send this off to all the groups that we know to get it out quickly, especially like Ireland.
Well, in Ireland, you've got about 5 days until Prince Charles comes. He'll come to remove the sweat equity of your nation. If you don't bring your nation out, do what the Canadians are doing, you will lose your country.
But we need to get this paperwork out to everybody in Ireland and Canada and stuff quickly, ASAP, before we do anything for ourselves.
I'll leave it up to you, darling. You know.
We won't get anywhere if we don't make it its top priority. We won't get anywhere.
Now, what I'm saying to you is, get on with it and enjoy the journey. Okay.
Hi, Mark.
Yep.
I'm in the New York state. Are you looking for anyone in New York?
For what?
For any rogue agents or agency?
Email me, and if we do, I will send the information to you. Okay.
Okay, I will.
All right. You're welcome. Thank you very
Hi,
much.
Mark.
Thank you very much for the offer.
Hi, Mark. This is Carol from Spain.
Hello, Carol.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you. Excellent. Thank you for everyone that supports me to be putting my hand up. Mark, I want to stand in this question for people that probably share in the same condition that I'm living, men and women. I hold 3 different passports. I was born in a country. My parents come from different countries in Europe. I'm South American. And I hold 3 different nationalities. So my question, very important for men and women all over the world that have been grandchildren or daughters and sons from war people, is what do we do related to the different nationalities that we have? And now I'm a citizen in Spain. So I would say I have 4 different governments to send my documents. Thank you so much.
You've answered your own question. You've got a few posting to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Mark.
Hello,
I have a question. Oh.
Hi, I'm from Croatia, and I'm wondering how to translate this to my language, because all these terms are completely unfamiliar to me, like a coroner. I never heard.
Darling, you know,
Yes.
I can't help you.
Okay.
But if you want to put your money where your mouth is, go and hire a translator he'll probably charge you about 200-300 euros if you guys use euros, and then you can qualify it. Yeah, that's what I would do.
I have a question, Mark.
So does that answer your question, Sandra?
Yes, I mean, I really would like to help, and but I can't say I really can wrap my head around this for the moment. I hope I can find more information, and
You're not probably ready for it. That's all.
Okay.
That's all. So just be honest with yourself, and just leave it be. Yeah, when you're ready for it, you'll understand it. But for the time being, if you're not ready, don't do it, because you don't know what you're doing.
All right.
Okay, that's all. So just directing you straightforward.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a question, Mark. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, that's good. Can we still help the vaccinated, or have they lost their corona, as you were saying?
I don't know, but you know, these documents can stop and correct anything in its place. The vaccines are more to do with nanotechnologies and transmitters, which they will probably switch off. Yeah. When you say, you know, can you help people with that vaccinated? What does that mean?
So what I'm trying to say is, have they already lost their corona, basically?
No, when they, you know, when they know that something bad has happened, they can correct it. No, nobody's ever devoid of anything. It's all done by consent. But I've never been able to help anybody that's already gone through this system. They are usually deaf, dumb, and blind.
Yeah.
Yeah. You really look. Your name is Gary Christopher, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look, Gary Christopher, there are certain realities you must accept. People are extremely stupid and dumb and walk themselves into all manner of situations. And anybody that believes the things that the government tells them and allows themselves to be vaccinated have already proved themselves to be beyond your help.
Yeah.
Okay. And that includes your children, that includes whoever bypassed it. Because if they bypass logic, if people don't know what Omicron is, then you can never explain anything to them. Yeah, if you take out a dictionary and show them what the corona is, and you tell them it's just a cold, and then they still go ahead with it, there's nothing you can do. And I would not have anything to do with them. That's why I'm so direct and kind of blunt, as it were. You know, that's all. I'm letting you know that someday you're going to have to accept that you're actually dealing with walking, talking oxymorons. And the legal word for that is called zombie. Okay.
Mark, on your letter, under your address, you put England nation. This is Yakiri's Bay. I'm out here in California. I know that.
So you would be called Californian.
Californian. So California nation is what I would put.
You would put Californian.
Copy that. Thank you.
Yeah, American nation is what it would be.
Thank you, sir. Now, would I put both or just one?
It's up to you. If you feel you're an American, help yourself. If you believe that you're a Californian, I should say, you know, certified fornicator, help yourself.
Now, what if I know that I'm something that predated both of those?
Like what?
Like Al Moroccan?
What the hell does that mean, Al Moroccan?
Well, so Al Moroccan, as I understood, was a name of this land before colonization.
Where did you get this information from?
I've various places have shared this, various sources over the last couple of years. So if that's a mistake.
I'll tell you a little secret.
Yes, sir.
When you give something a name, you have power over it. That's why they give things names. Okay. This is why the men and women that were native to that part of the world that we call America, or any of these continents, never gave the landmass a name. but they rather just give it a title like Mother Earth. Yeah, because they didn't want dominion over it or control over it. When I give you a name, I control you because you adopted that name, and your spirit, your genie, will surrender to me. That happens all the time when you fill in an online form and they tell you to submit. And yet, if I come up to you and said, submit to me, you're likely to punch me in the mouth, but you won't do it to your government. And they're telling you all the time, submit, 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 submit. It's in your face, but you just don't believe it.
I do
Yeah.
now.
Can you imagine your next door neighbor coming up and say, submit, submit, submit? You're going to come fighting out. But when the government does it for you, people just roll over and say, okay, I submit.
So how would I address that then without succumbing
I
to
have no
that?
evidence of what you're talking about, so I am unable to answer that question.
Copy that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Can I ask a question?
yeah, sure.
If I'm Jane from Ireland, if I submit this letter tomorrow to the coroner, what is my response or reply that I'm going to get from them, and hopefully within the next 5 days?
If they accept the document, they might write back to you. If they don't write back to you, they've accepted the document. That's how it's written out.
And does that mean that I have my own power of attorney back?
You have always had your own power of attorney. You've just simply corrected.
I've just declared to them.
No, you're not declaring nothing. You're just helping the coroner out to say, hey, just in case you've got me in your morgue as a dead entity, I'm just showing you signs of life. That's
right. Thank you. That's brilliant.
all right.
Absolutely.
I have a question. Can I discord you?
Yeah, okay.
Mark, I have to leave the call.
Yeah,
I want to thank you, Mark, before I have to leave.
All right, darling.
Thank
Enjoy
you so
yourself.
much for every word. I understand almost everything that you've said. I just want you to know that it's not.
Thank you very much.
I'm not ignorant, thanks to you and your videos. I appreciate it. And I'll be in touch by email. I'm from Connecticut, and I will email you if there's any names and addresses you need from there.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that's fine. Thank you very much for the offer, and I'll leave you alone, Raina.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
So
you.
look,
Bye-bye.
I'll take 2 more questions, okay, and then
Yeah.
I'll call it a night.
Can I ask my question? Because
yeah, sure.
I've been thank you very much for the opportunity to learn. I've been trying to reach the meeting before, but it was full. So I want to know if it will be possible for us to get the record as it is recording.
Yes.
Great. And yeah, my question is very factual now, because I have to renew my passport, and I have to also sign a power of attorney to my friends. I'm from Ivory Coast, okay? I live in France, and my mother died a year before, and I have to sign a document to give my power of attorney to my friends so that they can make some transactions on my mother account. So I know now that it is not something very, it's very sensitive for me to do that, because I'm political activist, and I'm trying to push these informations toward the people.
Can I stop you?
Yes, please.
If I wanted to sign a power of attorney to my friends, I have no problem with it.
Okay.
What's the point of having friends if you can't give them power of attorney? I have power of attorney of over probably 500-600 people. Yeah, for what I do. So they trust me and I trust them, and that's that. What's the problem? You know, if you're asking me How can I control it? Well, you put the times that it starts and the time it expires. That's all. Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
you would give them 30 days to conduct your affairs.
Okay.
And you can call it a specific power of attorney, which means that you're giving them directions rather than general powers of attorney. That is something that seldomly you want to give up. Yeah, it's called a specific power of attorney, but that's not what we was here to discuss about, okay?
Okay.
So if you have friends and you trust them, what's the problem?
Okay. Also, for renewing my passport, I mean, if I renew my passport and they keep my name in capital as a...
They will always keep your name in capital. It's how you autograph your name that allows you to do business as a man or woman or as the artificial person. Okay.
I'm
Look,
not
I really didn't want to talk about passports, and I just wanted to tell you how to correct your status so you can protect yourself from the brute forces that are coming out against the Canadians and all this stuff, because this is going global. Okay. Whether you like it or not, it's already gone global, and it hasn't ended in Canada. It's gathering forces in the US as we speak.
Yes, sir.
That's what that is.
Also in Africa, we are willing to push the movement so that we can also take part in the.
I mean, that's fantastic. You know, that's really fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm a pessimist, yeah, in many senses, and I don't believe anybody in anything that they say unless they demonstrate it. So
okay,
that's what it is.
Yes,
that's
sir.
why I'm talking to you guys, because you're willing to do something, and that's it. So I will leave it in your hands, but I don't trust any single one of you to do what you say you're going to do, except when you've done it. If you haven't done it, that's your business, and I've just wasted my time. Okay?
No.
So,
You don't waste your time, Paul.
yeah. So those people that are going to do something, they already get on with it. Those people that talk and doing it for personal reasons, they never get any far, and I just leave that up to them. That's why I'm very direct with these things, because I've got 12 years of experience with dealing with all manner of psychological types, some so monstrous that, you know, they are so intoxic, and some so kind and so angelic that it's a blessing to know them. I've met all manner of walks of life. Okay.
Mark, if I could ask you just one question.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
First of all, thanks for everything tonight. We're running a wee thing here in Ireland, and was wondering, would you ever think of visiting Ireland if we made you a special guest or offered out, you know, to come over and give a talk or anything? Would you be interested in maybe trying to do it for us?
No, not at all. I wouldn't do it.
That's okay.
I've been in your country so many times, and all I've been met with is very good men and women that want to do things and allow themselves to be thwarted by these half-witted common law societies and the rest of it that didn't want to go anywhere near what I was teaching them, because they didn't want it, because they felt left behind. You know, like I said, I'm not short of words, and I'm not politically correct. I've never had a good meeting, and I've had many in your country. I'm the first trainer in your country to come over and teach you these things. Yeah, and all I ever receive there is like a small group of men and women, okay, and that's it. The rest, all they do is just talk, make a lot of statements, pretend that they've done this, done that. They even come up to and say, oh, Mark, but we are constitutional experts. And I say to them, how is that going? Well, what do you mean? How is it going? You're experts in it. How is it going? How have you succeeded? What have you done? You know, what do you mean? It's like, I just tell them, please, F off, go away. You know, you don't belong here, go away. That's why I've been in your television stations. I've been in your newspapers, not just once, but multiple times, every time I hold a conference, because your country and the small group of men and women that work for these people and the hatred that they have for people that succeed, that is very unique in your country, I've always tried to thwart it. But most people that want my aid or my training or paid for services, that's all. You come to me and that'll be done. But I would never speak to any groups that you yourself have not qualified by every single name.
I know, I understand what you're saying, and what we're doing is we're going to qualify every single person on that, but I do appreciate what you're saying, Mark.
That's fine. I'm just being direct. I have one of the largest following studentships in your country.
Yeah.
And the only way that I get to keep them safe is to keep them private.
Yeah.
You know, it took me like so long to get Irene to come out, but the others, they won't come out because they're saying all they do, Mark, is just try to sabotage what we're trying to do because they don't want us to do it. And the reason why they don't want us to do it is because they feel left behind.
Ego.
I don't know, but what I'm saying to you is that you don't need my training. I've given you 90% of all the information on YouTube. Yeah, my Tricks and Traps university students have a great deal of knowledge because they paid for these things, and I've spent years training them. Yeah, that's what that is. But that's a different level. But I've given you to do everything that you need without any of my help. You don't ever need my help. You don't need it. That's what I do. When I show you something, it's being done by me. It's being qualified. You don't ever, if I teach you football, you don't ever need a football coach.
Yeah.
That's what that is. So everything I've given you is qualified. I've used it myself, etc. Blah, blah, blah. And that's not even written in Miller's technology because you guys will not be able to touch Miller's technology yet. That's all that is. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So you don't need my help. That's what it's about. And my hope is that I've explained to you, you don't need anybody's help. The reason why you are doing what you're doing, the Canadians are doing what they're doing, is because they don't want a leader. They're leaderless. And that's why there is no organizers. That's all false. The newspapers are telling you lies. They don't have any leaders. They don't have any organizers. Every man and woman has come up on the street saying, I am not going to accept this. I'm doing this for myself. And all of us agree we're doing it for ourselves. And we have one purpose. You're not going to force these things on us. If you do, we're going to grab you by the throat and we're going to hold on until you expire.
Amen.
Okay.
Class, Mark. Class.
Yeah, that's all that is. Yeah. So I'm sorry to give you such direct answers, but I've had so much experience in so many countries. It's just unbelievable. And I've never really had a good reception in Ireland. Every time I
can assure you this, Mark. I want to interrupt you. If you came to my home, you would get a great reception and you would get a welcome on the mat. That's always been okay. So I can assure you
if you guys need, if you Irish people need personal training and you're willing to pay for it, I'll be happy to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
But in reality, I don't have the time. That's why I've done this for you guys for free. So you can go ahead with it. And I want to make it very clear, you don't need me. That world has come to an end. You don't need solicitors, you don't need judges and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, that's all that is. So
can I ask a question?
Leaderless. You out of here, Mark?
Yeah, somebody wanted to ask a question.
Hi, Mark. My name's Daniel. I'm from the UK, but currently living in Ghana. I've been searching online as you speak for the coroner of Ghana, and it's referring to them as the district magistrate. Would that be correct?
I couldn't help you. District magistrates, anybody can be a coroner. Okay, but if it says they're not the coroner, then they're not the coroner. A coroner is mostly a lawyer, a judge, something like that. Okay. So I couldn't help you because I don't have any experience in Ghana.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Is this Africa, Ghana we're talking about?
Yeah, west of Africa, west coast of Africa.
Is it part of the Commonwealth?
It is, yes.
Oh, then it would have a coroner.
Okay.
Crown appointed coroner.
I've just been searching online and is, you know, Corona is coming up with a lot of the virus stuff. So that
Yeah, not
was,
Corona, coroner.
yeah, Corona, but that's what's coming up.
You need to put
on
up
this.
coroner's court, local coroner's court or county coroner's court in whichever county you're in or province or whatever it is, okay?
Okay, I'll give that a try. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Just one more question, ladies and gentlemen, and then I need to.
Mark, I need to ask this on behalf of sharing this information for many people.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
going to get this question and I need to be able to look them in the eye and tell them the
Yeah,
truth.
that's fine,
if
that's
it's
fine.
possible. Great. So please, will people who send in this letter be giving up any benefits paid by the de facto government, such as pensions, employment insurance, income support?
Nothing of that I know of.
Okay. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Nothing that I know of. Pensions and stuff, those are things are owned by these governments and things like that. I've never heard of it, but if they feel uncomfortable with it, make sure they don't do it. Okay?
Okay. Thank
Mark,
you.
you're in Houston, Mark. I just want to thank you for answering to my email. My wife knows that it is real.
What does that mean? Your wife knows it's real?
Well, I've been explaining to her that I've watched your videos and I'm letting her know that this guy's got nothing to hide. He's got nothing to hide from us. Why would he? So she's just having a hard time, like most everybody else that I talk to here. It's just like you said, they're under a goddamn spell. You know, and it just amazes me. But I'm gonna keep pushing regardless. I'm gonna keep pushing. I'm gonna keep pushing because I'm gonna get mine. If nobody else wants theirs, I'm damn sure gonna get mine and help who I can. Thanks to you.
Well, thank you very much for the vote of confidence. Let me say this then before I leave. The reason what I'm talking about makes sense because it follows a sequence of events and logic. You know, if my mouthpiece fell off, that document will still speak for itself.
Right.
Because you can self-qualify what the words mean. And that's the nature of autonomous. Yeah. So they speak for themselves and you follow the logic. You don't follow me because I'm not a leader. Yeah, I'm not a leader, nor do I want to be a leader.
Right.
Because it speaks for yourself. Yeah, that's what that's about. So, and the reason why, you know, I always talk about penalty of perjury and geometric level playing field is because I ain't lying to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm direct and I ain't lying to you. Like the lady that asked me, you know, would they lose their pensions? The answer is, I don't know, but I've never heard of it.
Right.
Yeah, never heard of it. That's that. You know, like Daniel, he asked me about the county coroner. If it's Commonwealth, it's almost certainly it has a coroner in place. Okay. That's all that is. I'm not exaggerating it. I'm not underplaying it. I'm just talking to you on a geometric level playing field under the penalty of perjury with my oath in hand, as it were.
Love it. Love it.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Enjoy yourself.
All right, Mr. Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mark. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.